Noah Kahan dropped an album at the end of April that, according to all the traditional music marketing guidelines, on paper, should have flopped. It had an incredibly long runtime that became even longer when he added 4 more songs to the deluxe version, rounding out a 21-song track list. It only had 2 singles before the entire album was released to the world, giving it barely any time to build hype. But there are different pathways of success now that the industry has shifted from predominantly album unit sales to predominantly music streaming. What's fascinating about The Great Divide is that according to these new standards, it still probably should have flopped. Kahan wasn't exactly making social media content constantly with the singles, trying to get the songs to trend. He hadn't released a full-length project since 2024 with Stick Season Forever, which is technically a mega deluxe of the even older 2022 album. A break that long in releases would be ensuring that we all forget about you. The attention economy moves at a breakneck pace. There's so much other stuff to pay attention to. Just to add insult to injury, the album was chock full of acoustic emotional ballads and was released headed into the springtime. Not exactly a sonic match to the season. There were not 17 versions of this album you could pre-order on vinyl. There was not a Spotify exclusive music video. One would think my man was doomed, but it did not flop. The Great Divide actually did the opposite of flop. All 21 songs of this album charted on the Hot 100 simultaneously. It debuted #1 on the Billboard Top 200. It earned 43.6 million streams on its opening day. That is the biggest first day for an album on streaming since favorite discussion topic of the channel, Life of a Showgirl. I saw much confused chatter online about this performance. Many people confused as to how an artist like Noah Kahan could pull numbers like this. As a self-proclaimed and honestly proud person who likes to think and talk like I run a PR agency, I was amazed by this as well. I saw how all signs pointed towards a middling album release, but Noah Kahan managed to go beyond defying expectations. And naturally, I wanted to try and figure out how Kahan and his team pulled this off so spectacularly. So I have 4 points for you today. I have decided to call them pillars. Big, fancy, ornate pillars like you'd see in ancient Athens, holding up the Great Divide on the top of the Billboard charts above all of the other thousands of musical releases. Today, I'll talk a little bit about those pillars, plus the value of streaming in fan spaces, and the conclusions that I've drawn from this case study about the overall American pop music culture. Reminder before we start that this is all just what I think. It's what I've cooked up in my little brain. It is not gospel, and if you disagree, I encourage you to write what you think in the comments section. 1, he is a cis white man. Elephant in the room that we gotta acknowledge right off the bat. He's a white guy. He's a white guy that makes a very widely popular and accessible genre of music. That's going to open a lot more doors for you than close them. It would just be plainly unfair to not say that this is a factor in the album's chart placement, but it does not downplay his success in any way. There are plenty of white guys making stomp clap hey music who never make it big, much less watch their albums perform like The Great Divide is performing right now. There are uber popular white guys who have had to beg for streams in the past. All the other elements that Noah Kahan has going for him, which we will now discuss since we've gotten this out of the way, are what I believe put him in the space he's in right now. This just places his chances of success at a naturally higher baseline. 2, his initial success and the development of his persona. Noah Kahan was one of the inaugural artists to blow up on TikTok. I'm going to say this because he makes jokes about it himself. This guy is a Kia Asylum escapee. He made a few waves forever ago. He did sign with Republic Records in 2017 in the boom of the Lumineers, Vance Joy, Stomp Clap Hey at its prime. His debut album did have one hit, Hurt Somebody, featuring Julia Michaels, a song I realized I actually added to a playlist during this era, and I never clocked it was the same artist until I started researching for this video. You learn something new every day. He went on to lose momentum though, his second album not achieving any mainstream visibility. During the pandemic, while isolated in his childhood hometown in Vermont, Kahan began posting songs in progress clips on TikTok, where Flint met match with Stick Season. Contemplative, nihilistic, and raw, it was everything we all wanted to scream about while we went through this unprecedented time, or whatever we were calling it back then to keep ourselves from going insane. Kahan was going viral, releasing Stick Season as a single while teasing upcoming songs on TikTok, and building up anticipation for the next 2-ish years until the album Stick Season's release in 2022. He rode Stick Season for a while, completing a multi-year tour schedule that I can only only describe as grueling. When you look up how long this man was actively on tour, I cannot believe he wasn't being puppeteered by the end, like Weekend at Bernie's style. While touring, he released 2 different deluxe versions of Stick Season, featuring new tracks and collaborations on old tracks with popular and similar artists, including Hozier, Sam Fender, Casey Musgraves, Lizzie McAlpine, Brandy Carlisle. I mean, the list goes on. He continued his tradition of teasing new music, adding tracks that were in the works to random tour stops, causing those songs to gain fans and traction on social platforms before they were even in the recording studio. Kahan then released a live album of his concert at Fenway Park, including a live version on streaming of the demo Pain is Cold Water. Number 4 on my 2024 top songs, I Am Healthy and Well Adjusted. Sending one up for this girl too, because she did not make the final track list for The Great Divide, and I was very sad to see it. After the tour concluded in 2024, he kind of dropped off the face of the earth in terms of his own artistic output. Obviously not completely. He would pop up at events and attend other artist concerts, but no more new Stick Season variants, and no word on any official music releases. But crucially, he didn't vanish entirely. Kahan has always been very communicative with his community on social media. It's something his fan base has come to expect from him since that first moment of virality. For the creation of The Great Divide, Kahan stepped back from posting full audio snippets on social media, but continued using that strategy just in a different format to keep fans in the loop, keep them interested, on the hook. He would tweet lyric sets throughout the process of writing this album to keep his fans connected even with the lack of more official material. This would also build hype for the eventual project. Once The Great Divide was released, I saw fans quote tweeting posts of lyrics that were posted even years back that made it into the eventual final cut, enjoying that they got to feel like they were somehow part of the inception of this song that they now get to hear and love. In addition to these lyric vague posts, he also joked around and commented on what was happening in the world, and came across as he always has, humble and genuine and very thankful for his fan base. I mean, just watch this video he posted after achieving all this massive charting success.
Hey y'all, it's Noah Kahan. I just got told that my album is #1 in the United States and in some other countries too. And I wanted to say thank you, but I also wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the numbers. The numbers don't really mean much to me usually. I fucking hate math. It's confusing. And in terms of my career, I always was just happy to have a job. Numbers didn't matter much, you know. I was just happy to be able to do it. But the numbers here tell a real story, and I think the story they tell is a group of people, a group of fans, you all, that believed in me for a long time, that haven't given up on me, that have been patient, have had confidence that I would come back and make music that you guys cared about. And the intelligence and kindness and passion and just love from you guys is just like, it's overwhelming. And what we're doing is really, really special. I don't know. I didn't have much hope, but you guys have always given that to me. You've made me believe in myself more than I've ever been able to. And to have a #1 album is something really, really special. And it just takes so much more than just me. It takes an amazing team, amazing label partners at the DSPs, but almost only it takes an amazing group of fans.
Of course, I'm not talking about Kahan's actual real personality in this analysis. It might be his real personality for all I know, but I don't know him. I mean, none of us do. If you're watching this and you happen to know him personally, that's sick. You can fact check this, I guess. But I have never had the pleasure of talking to him, so I only know the persona he's building. Persona and personality, when it comes to especially musical artists, are very different in my mind. Though I'm sure for some, they are quite similar. And in the American pop music, pop culture media sphere, we want you to blur those lines as much as humanly possible. Moving to my next pillar. 3. The US market value of authenticity. In America, we love an authentic celebrity. There was a moment where we wanted our celebrities to be relatable too, and there's plenty of commentary you can watch on that phenomenon, but we've always wanted our stars to be genuine, and I honestly predict we always will. The American viewing public want to support artists that stand 10 toes behind their own work. Artists who have crafted their own unique and deeply personal vision. There's probably something in there connected to capitalism and the whole pulling yourself up by your bootstraps mentality, but that discussion would fully derail this video topic. We'll put a pin in it. So all's this to say, when artists pull tricks to tip the streaming scales, it doesn't just make us angry because it's a cash grab. It reads as extremely inauthentic. We just won't stand for that. We need to believe that every move this artist makes is coming from the deepest depths of their soul and is connected to the very most vulnerable part of their emotional core. This doesn't have to be the truth, But it has to feel that way. Multiple vinyls, exclusive single versions with strange names, they aren't an authentic artistic choice. So we reject them. Noah Kahan has only ever portrayed himself as unrelentingly authentic, and that has unsurprisingly proven in the United States to be very profitable. He has crafted a public persona that reads as very real, as very genuine. In a 2023 feature for the Time 100 Next, he is praised with Noah Kahan is so honest in everything he does. A piece in The Guardian about his early work that didn't chart well, the word inauthentic pops up multiple times. He became kind of exhausted by that. I was definitely trying to be someone that I wasn't. Whether that was Ed Sheeran or any of the many white male 20-something singer-songwriters who had made it big, it felt inauthentic. This album that followed, I Was/I Am, showed an artist grappling with his identity. It had some nice songs, but you can still hear an inauthenticity in his younger voice. A feature about him in The Eagle concludes with, despite his recent stardom, Kahan stays true to what his fans love about him most, his humble, relatable persona. 4. The music is high quality. And at the end of all of this marketing, all of this persona building, the product is an easy sell. That's going to be the final puzzle piece always, right? Great songs. Catchy hooks with searing lyricism that has improved since the last album. A continuation of the authenticity that we have seen in his persona outside the music carries over into the music itself. A consistency that's needed for this all to work out. Kahan often sings about his specific experiences. His New England roots, his family dynamics, times that he was betrayed by people in his life, his own doubts and insecurities. A lot of the Great Divide centered on grappling with fame and how the changes in his life rippled into the relationships that he has. Not exactly the most relatable content necessarily for his billions of listeners who are most likely not famous and maybe not from the Northeast. But based on the persona that Kahan has constructed, these topics are authentic. Authentic for him to experience and authentic for him to tackle in his songwriting. I really don't want anyone to think that I'm accusing Noah Kahan of not writing about his real life and hiding behind a persona or something. That's not what I'm trying to say. I just don't really know his life, and I think it's time we start acknowledging a lot more often that the only persona that we know of celebrities is what they gift to us with their art and the subsequent marketing surrounding that art. And maybe it's reflective of their inner lives, and maybe it isn't, and that's okay. It's still their art, and we can enjoy it regardless. But in America, for some reason, we enjoy it a lot more when we feel like it's genuine and sincere. So that's my breakdown of why I think Noah Kahan has been able to come out victorious in these streaming wars. Authenticity, sincerity, genuineness. And after all this thinking and theorizing, I'm left with one existential question. Why does any of that matter? Why do we even care about streaming numbers? These chart placements often have very little to do with talent, just a monetary representation of popularity for label executives to cheer about. Little trophies that get printed for artists to hold in Instagram pictures. Being honest, I don't really know. I don't really know why we give a shit. I sure know major artists care about streams, as I've alluded to the various desperate moves being made by marketing teams to bump up the numbers. And I mean, that's probably all about money. I mean, I'm not in the music industry, but allegedly they really care about money. But why do we, the consumer, treat streaming numbers like it's sports? Why do we consider an artist's streaming records moral victories? We don't get any monetary benefit when an artist charts well. What's our stake in this game? Well, we love seeing our faves succeed, especially in a field like music, something we feel so emotionally connected to. That emotional connection intensifying when we find an artist with a persona that we love. This is such a clear and measurable and visible metric of success. We're proud of this person that we feel parasocially connected to through these songs. We see that other people love this music, other people feel like we do, and this person has managed to unite us all and top the charts. We're all in this together. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video. Let's remember that is why we feel good when an artist that we like charts well. Community and connection. Streaming has become such a vile competition sometimes between artists and fan bases. A way to determine an artist's worth in every sense, not just monetary. So much so that labels have found a way to inflate the numbers while subsequently milking every last penny from dedicated listeners. It's also used to tear down artists who don't measure up, or ridicule artists that are seen as trying hard to garner attention. Chasing streams outwardly is groveling and embarrassing. Using more discreet techniques is perceived as disingenuous. It's such a catch-22. How should you seek to acquire something that you absolutely need to keep growing but you can't even indicate that you're aware of.
Hello everyone, me editing this video here. You can probably hear my laundry machine in the back. Very sorry about that. I just felt like I wanted to tie this point back to the video that we watched from Noah Kahan earlier that he posted after getting the #1 album. He's so adamant that this has never been about numbers, guys. Like, I've never cared about numbers. Like, they aren't important to me. They obviously are, though. They have to be. They're important to your employer. I just find it interesting we force our artists, because we care so much about authenticity as a culture, to do this weird little song and dance about how they don't actually care about numbers and they're just doing this for the love of their art, when clearly they have to care a little bit or they wouldn't keep their jobs. It's kind of a rigged game. It's interesting to me, and why it's so impressive to me that Noah Kahan has struck such a balance.
Noah Kahan defied the odds with his release week. No gimmicks and no disappointments. He released a great album. He kept his persona consistently connected to his fans, and we showed up and we listened. I also want to wrap this up with a reminder, maybe a hot take, that when you shove streaming numbers in the face of other fan bases, putting these chart records on some sort of pedestal, you're sharing the same priority as record label executives. Never a good look. When fan bases start to value streams, label executives have more of an excuse to do insane shit to drive up numbers. I implore all of you to look deeper than streaming numbers sometimes, so artists don't have to be continued to force to do cash grabs. Support artists that make stuff that you love, and celebrate their victories without becoming evil about it. I'm always fascinated by how much authenticity matters to us as a culture in the USA, and I'm sure I'll keep making videos about it, but this album cycle is really just a case study on this concept. And it's always more fun to discuss an album that I loved and why other people love it over an album that I hated. And while Noah Kahan won the streaming wars, I lost the Ticketmaster wars. So if anyone out there with tickets to the upcoming tour is feeling generous, or maybe works security at a venue and feels comfortable looking the other way, my DMs are open. You can like this video, you can subscribe, you can do whatever you want. I talk about pop culture and music, politics, whatever's rattling around in my head every 2 weeks or so. Stick around if you want to hear what I come up with next. See you in the next one.